topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Sports for kids in America began with what we affectionately called Sandlot Ball, where kids organized their own games, made their own rules, and played until the sun went down. Then came along parents.
The National Alliance for Youth Sports was born out of a desire to bring order to the world of organized sports for children in America. While for the most part, children have a great experience playing sports, far too often parents and coaches lose perspective. This program is aimed at bringing some of America's best experts to talk about what we can do to change the atmosphere of win at all cost and parent poor behavior to one that focuses on children having a positive learning experience through sports. Here's our host, Fred Eng, the founder of the National Alliance for Youth Sports.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Why Johnny Hates Sports. I think this is like our 12th edition or episode, and we're really happy to have CYSA. You're probably saying, what is the CYSA in the recreation industry? Well, it's a certified youth sports administrator, and today's guest, his name is Ja'Cory Brazil. So welcome, Ja'Cory.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Well, listen, it's great to have you here. Hey, while I'm at it, tell people what a certified youth sport administrator, what does that mean? What does that mean to you being one?
For me, it means, that I've, taken the time to gain the knowledge. It to me shows that I demonstrated the commitment to professionalism and the betterment of youth sports. So that's what it means to me. To the core of it, it just signifies that I've taken the necessary steps to develop my skills and expand my knowledge.
Yeah, that's great. And it's great that throughout the country now, there are over 2,000 people like yourself who have taken the time to become a certified youth sport administrator. Today, Ja'Cory, I had the topic for today's program and said, could your child's coach be a pedophile? I told that to somebody and they went, wow, whoa, you're kidding. I said, no, I'm not kidding. Actually, I told him something. Let me read something to you first. It said, globally, the World Health Organization estimates that 1 in 5 women and 1 in 7 men report being sexually abused as children, which translates to millions of cases annually. And then another one said that experts estimate that about 10% of sexual child abuse cases are reported, meaning the true number of incidents involving youth coaches could be 10 times higher than documented figures. That's horrifying, isn't it? Yeah,
it is. We hear the stories. We know that's a concern for parents every time they sign their child up. So yeah, it definitely is when you hear things like that. And even myself, when I see something like that on the news, that definitely breaks my heart there.
Yeah, I guess it does. I mean, it breaks everybody's heart that to know that there are people out there that are like that. So within your department, what do you do to try to prevent that?
We take an action to number one, make sure that we screen them, and we do that by as far as background checks. Here, I'm in Macon-Bibb County, Georgia, where we run our background checks through the sheriff's department, the county here, but we also do a national wide screening as well. So with me, also I have experience as far as, because I have to do make sure mentors get screening as well, and because work with coaches, youth coaches, as well as mentors for our mentorship program for young men. So we have to make sure that they all get screened. So that's one of the first steps: registering, getting the necessary information that we're asking from them, and then getting screened.
Have you ever had to report anybody that, excuse me, was a sexual abuser?
Did not, haven't ran across that. Now we did have ran across where the our system flagged the system, for certain disqualifications. Hey, look, it's not suitable. Our system will tell us, hey, look, not suitable to to work or to volunteer. So I have ran into that where I had to let a mentor know that, hey, look, would not be eligible at this time to volunteer.
Wow. One of the scary parts about all of it is the fact that you do go through screening, and you've had people out there that you think were wonderful people, but you never know. You've got somebody that can hide behind a lot of things. And are there any, as a certified youth sport administrator, if I were a parent and bringing my kid out, what would there be anything that you could tell me to say, look, I'm doing with our department everything that we can to protect your child and not have to worry about having these deviants out there that are behind the scenes trying to get out at all children?
Yeah, I tell the parents, all the time, as far as, like I say, the first step of the process, before we even have them conducting a practice or with them being around their children, we do, like I say, collect an extensive information, be able to make sure that nothing suspicious pops up, but also too, our screening process also allows for us to, if anything pops up while they're coaching, then we will be notified. So that's an advantage of having a system that'll update monthly, for us to be able to see things if things changes. But also too, I tell the parents, as far as general supervision, us as staff, we make sure that we continue to have communication with our youth coaches, and we make sure that we still oversee and still supervise the program.
Yeah, it's great. Especially the fact that you said that you haven't identified anybody or had to, not prosecute yourself, but have them be prosecuted. So it must be great doing what you're doing. And it sounds to me like being a certified youth sport administrator certainly helped. Did you, when you went to become certified, I'm sure, how long have you been certified?
I've been certified. I got my certification. It was last year. I also did the frontline class with Lisa. So that was great, very beneficial. Learned a lot right away. But also, been with NAES, done a lot of the NAES training for years now. So since I did my first NAES training, it was like 2009.
So let me ask you this. Were you a former athlete yourself?
Yes. Yes, I'm a former athlete, participated in sports ever since I was young. And I tell people, not only a former athlete, but also an official, as well as a coach myself.
So there's a lot of people out there, and I guess I can count myself in with them, of being a former athlete, and my sport was wrestling, and you know, I look around at all the people that are youth sport administrators, and I often wonder how many of them are former athletes, and is that the reason that they're in the field of recreation? What do you think?
I believe so. I believe so. I think either they, far as with recreation, they either played a lot of sports, or they love the ability to be able to put programs together for the community. You know, whether it's a Uno tournament, or you know, our art class. They love just putting stuff together for the community, really helping out. You find a lot of people in the recreation field just have a passion to help people in the community. I know myself personally, I love sports. I am a huge, I love football, basketball. You know, I can talk sports all day. I played wrestling. I was on a wrestling team, varsity, golf team, football, basketball, track team. I'm a marathon runner now. So I love all things recreation and fitness. And this is the perfect field for me.
So a lot of times people talk about in recreation and in sports, and whether you play in high school or college or whatever level, I always come back to ask people and say, what did that teach you? What do you think it taught you about life?
Multiple different attributes, from, teamwork, being able to take risk, stepping out of your comfort zone, hard work, determination, so many different attributes that's key, that I use now, even, doing my job, how to work with my team, how to communicate with my team. I use, my staff will probably tell you, he used a lot of sports examples, but, even like basketball, right? How, you hear your coach in the back of your head, just, you hear those reminders of, hey, talk on defense, make sure you're communicating with your teammates. And, we do that now, as far as, hey, remember to communicate with your team. And so those things, that's what I take with me every day on a daily basis.
One of the things that we talk about with the National Alliance for Youth Sports is that sports are the outdoor classroom of life, and the things you just talked about. So I asked one of the people that were on a couple of weeks ago, and I said, okay, let me give you an example and a question of the fact that if sports are the outdoor classroom, obviously you have the classroom where kids are in school learning reading, writing, arithmetic deal. And I said, if there's a superintendent of schools, why isn't there a superintendent of youth sports? Is there in Macon County?
I wouldn't say, because there's different leagues, but we, if I had to say, far as a superintendent, it would be our director, our recreation director, who is plugged in with all the sports, a lot of sports, because we have multiple in different sports leagues, not just the leagues that come from the recreation department, but our director would kind of be the one that takes that role right there.
Well, that's great. Well, listen, I want to tell you, it was great having you on today and to talk about, being a certified youth sport administrator and knowing all the things that go on. But one of the things that you probably receive from the National Alliance is the press box. And we talk about the press box stories, and I want to pull one of these up that you see that go on every week, and I want to see what your reaction is to that. So if our engineer can pull up that press box, you'll look at them. I hope. I guess we're not going to have the press box. Anyway, we talk about the different stories that are on there, and it just amazes me that each week that we send out 4 or 5 different stories that are horrific about coaches and parents and things that go on in these different communities. And I say, it's amazing that we could do one every week with 4 or 5 different stories. This isn't once every month or once a year. It's every single week. So what do you think that we can do, collectively as a country of recreation people like yourself? What can we do to prevent these stories? Is there anything that we can do to prevent it?
Well, that's a tough one, but definitely a good question. And I'll say, and I believe it's just, staying, just far as staying on watch, just always being observant, always being in the mix. And when I say being in the mix, meaning, always having those communications with your volunteers, with your parents, and also with the athletes as well. Because a lot of times when it comes to these, stories, is like a lot of times it's too late. But just having those communication, making sure as far as supervising and then also too, using the tools that we have, making sure that, we do a good job as sports administrators, using our tools that NAES provide, but also, spreading those resources out to our coaches and parents, letting them know the different, whether it's signs that they could probably be able to see with their child, as well as, when it comes to coaches, hey, look, here's how, not to even put yourself in the position of having your, good deed to be evil spoken of. I say that all the time. That's something that we have to continue to work on, continue to, bring to the forefront. To me is something that is continuous when it comes to working on it and trying to solve that issue and make sure those things never happen.
Well, like I say, it's so great to have people like you that are so concerned and doing such a great job. Not only there in Georgia, but all you certified youth sport administrators. Until that came along, there wasn't really anybody like people like yourselves that were really taking it serious and saying, like I said a long time ago when I saw it, when I was a recreation person, I said, somebody's got to do something about this. And now you guys are doing something about it. So I applaud you and your staff and everything else that you're doing. And again, thanks again for being on the show, and good luck there. And we'll talk to you hopefully the next time.
All right. Yes, sir. I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
All right. Great. Okay. That's it for today. And sorry we didn't have the press box up to discuss a few of the issues, but we'll be back again next Friday at 11 a.m. and hope to see you then.
This program is sponsored by Sir Durf Publishing in the interest for better sports for kids. Better Kids for Life. In this best-selling book, a child, while failing to live up to his father's expectations, is shamed and humiliated beyond belief. He vows to never allow his own son to face the same.